Oh my goodness. Good morning, good afternoon. Whatever it is for you, I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is Strong Opinion Sports, episode 682. Welcome in. Hope you're doing great. Let me check. Yes, the audio is recording. I'm nervous. Look, this is my third time recording the intro now. I've been recording for about 10 minutes total, and I'm yet restarting now for the third time. It's funny. I haven't done an episode one-on-one like this in a long time. It's usually been me and Nathan recently, and I'm incredibly nervous. I'm like sweaty. I can feel it. I don't know why. I've done hundreds and hundreds of episodes by myself, this style, and yet for some reason, this episode, it's intimidating. I don't know why. It's funny. You get out of practice, I think. You take a couple weeks off of doing the one-on-one thing, and then when you come back to it, it's like horrifying. But I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. I've been really busy at my other job. The schedule's challenging. I've got meetings at 7 a.m. almost every day, and when you're staying up late watching football, then you're up late, then leaving early. It's a tough, challenging schedule. But being busy in the HVAC world, it's a blessing. Like, I shouldn't complain. It's a good problem to have. But I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the show. Let's talk about Thursday Night Football, kind of the highlight of today's show first before anything else. Last night on Thursday Night Football, the Browns beat the Steelers 24-19. I have a lot to say. First of all, I'm a Steelers fan. And so as a Steelers fan, yeah, it was disappointing to watch that. Was I shocked? No, and we can talk about why and what goes on there. But I will say, if you just take a step back and look at Thursday Night Football this year, we have had some really, really incredible Thursday night games, like back to back to back. And we've come a long way with Amazon Prime and Thursday Night Football. I remember they were talking today last night on the broadcast about Russell Wilson. And, they were like, hey, he spent a couple years in Seattle, did really well there. Then he had 2 forgettable years in Denver. And now he's in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, whoa, forgettable. I didn't forget those years at all. They were painful and awful to watch. And I remember watching one particular Thursday Night Football game involving Russell Wilson with the Broncos and the Colts. And it was literally probably the worst football game I've ever seen in my entire life. This year has been different. We've had really, really good back-to-back Thursday Night Football games. This game also delivered. It was fun. It was snowy. It was dramatic. I didn't know who was going to win. I was sad my team didn't win. I'm not going to lie to you. But I also tipped the cap to Jameis Winston. He gave a great performance. It was fun to watch. I'll maintain, and always will maintain, Jameis Winston is one of my favorite personalities in the football world. I don't know that I'd like being his friend. He's kind of nutty. I don't know what to make of him. But man, he is so entertaining to watch with a camera in his face. And he reminds me of Marshawn Lynch, actually, where just put this guy in front of a camera. I don't care what it is. I'll watch it. I'm going to be entertained. I watch videos of Marshawn Lynch doing anything and everything. And Jameis Winston is the same way, where when he retires from football, I'm begging Travel Channel or Food Network or someone to just get him a TV show, put him in front of a camera, send him off to Greece or Italy or Japan. Japanese people and Jameis Winston colliding would be hilarious and funny. And I just think he would give so many amazing, incredible sound bites. I want that so badly. So, number one, love Jameis. You like to see him win, even if it's at the cost of my favorite team losing a football game. Here's what really kind of surprised me about Thursday Night Football. There's a lot to be said, I think, but really the key matchup in this game came down to you've got 3 minutes and 22 seconds left. The Browns have the ball. The Browns are down 19-18. And you think, hey, the Steelers have, the lead, and their best group is on the field. Their defense is on the field. It sucks that they had a 3-and-out previous to that. They could have theoretically run out the clock. But you know what? Fine. It's the Steelers defense against the Browns offense. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, I'll take that. Maybe 10 out of 10 times. If you told me Wednesday morning, hey, the game is going to come down to the Steelers defense needs a stop against Jameis Winston and the Browns offense in a blizzard, I'm going to go, yeah, of course, I'll take that matchup, and I think I'm going to win. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. The Steelers defense, I thought, kind of got, and the Browns got the best of Pittsburgh on Thursday Night Football. And you know what? That sucks. I've watched this Steelers defense slow down Lamar Jackson, they beat Lamar Jackson last week, literally kicking 6 field goals. So I thought, hey, this is a perfect matchup. It works in favor of Pittsburgh. And the defense, frankly, the best part of their team is what kind of let them down on Thursday Night Football and didn't make the plays necessary to win. You can talk about the offense. It's a team victory. It's a team loss either way. The Steelers did get the ball with 4 minutes and 22 seconds left. They had a 3-and-out. They could have theoretically run out the clock. They didn't. But I got to give my honest analysis to, like, hey, I really thought sitting on the couch, you know what? This is kind of how I would hope the game would turn out. And I thought TJ Watt and Nick Herbig and the Steelers defense would make a stop. I don't know why I said, JJ Watt. He's so prevalent on Thursday Night Football. And unfortunately, my girlfriend has a massive crush on him. It's like, dang it. Oh, I can't. I don't look anything like JJ Watt. I'm screwed. It's funny. Like, Thursday Night Football is always a JJ Watt thing. And then you got JJ and TJ, and there's a lot going on. Like I said, I was just disappointed that I feel like the best group in Pittsburgh didn't get it done when it mattered most. You tip the cap to Jameis Winston. He had an awesome touchdown run. His battery for his headset communicators hang out of his helmet. He then throws a 2-point conversion in the snow. It was cool, man. I don't have too much. I wasn't surprised Pittsburgh lost. It felt like they were going to lose for a long time. They were down 18-6 at one point in the second half, and in the fourth quarter even. So when that happened, you're like, hey, we're probably going to lose this football game. And I was resigned to the fact early in the fourth quarter when Cleveland got a touchdown to make it 18-6, I was like, okay, this game is over. Now, what I didn't expect was suddenly in the fourth quarter, the Steelers offense came alive and got 2 quick touchdowns. They get a touchdown. They force a fumble on Jameis Winston that gets him in scoring position again. Then they score another touchdown. And you're like, wow, this is incredible. We have a lead. But it came out of nowhere. It was unexpected. It felt kind of cheap. Didn't feel long-lasting. It wasn't long-lasting. And I was kind of ready to have the conversation like, look, the offense is a problem here. We can't keep, Pittsburgh's offense, they're 8-2, 8-3 now after the Browns loss. But they're winning games without really great offensive performances. They're winning because of their defense, and they're kicking field goals. They're not finishing drives. I was ready to have that conversation. And then, unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, Russell Wilson and the offense did get 2 quick touchdowns to actually take a lead. And you're like, well, is that criticism still valid? And I think yes. Ultimately, you walk away from a game where the defense kind of got. They gave up 24 points to Cleveland, sure. But also, until that fourth quarter, it was a really awful game to watch from the offensive side of the football for Pittsburgh. And to me, in spite of some late fourth quarter success, that felt more like an outlier than the reality. You got to look at Pittsburgh, and I know Nathan and I have gone back and forth on this in the main show. At 8-3, the Steelers are in a weird spot. They're a defensive-led football team, which I'm sorry, in 2024 in the NFL, I just don't think that's going to win you a championship. Is it fun to watch? Is it awesome? Yeah, I really like this Steelers team. I like watching them. I think they can win a playoff game. But you're not going to go past a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Lamar Jackson. The defense is great. I just can't imagine it to go on an incredibly legendary run of great defensive performance all the way to a Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. At some point, your offense has to get going and give you support. And we haven't seen enough from the Steelers this year on the offensive side of the football. I think it's very honest. I think it's very real. I don't like that. I like Russ. Russell Wilson's given me some really fun moments. He had an incredible touchdown pass to Calvin Austin on Thursday Night Football last night where he steps in to throw. He gets leveled as he throws. It's an incredible throw. I like Russ. He made some plays out of the pocket where he extended plays and ran for first downs or kept plays alive or made big-time throws as he got hit. Like, I like Russell Wilson. I don't have no shade on him. There's still a missing element of the Steelers offense, though. There's still a lack of spark at times. And as much as I love the Steelers team, they're 8-3. I think they're probably they could beat Houston in a playoff game. I think that's very likely and possible. Denver scares me a little more. I don't know why. It just does. But you know what? I know what. The Steelers have limitations. I think we saw them on Thursday night against Cleveland. And in a game where your defense has a bad day, which, hey, that's going to happen. you're gonna lose. And unfortunately, this game reinforces my belief that this Steelers team in a playoff run is gonna run into a game where their defense doesn't have a perfect day. You can't every game. I'm sorry, and you're gonna lose, and you're gonna get knocked out. And it's not a surprise. It's not unexpected. That's the inevitable thing that's going to happen in Pittsburgh. So. Kind of a canary in the coal mine, will you say, this game was for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm talking like Yoda now. But I think this is a game I'll look back to when their season ends in January. I'll go, hey, remember that game at the end of November against Cleveland on Thursday Night Football? I do too. And that's the moment I knew, we got a problem in Pittsburgh. It's a limiting factor, and it's going to cause some issues down the road. All right. I want to answer some questions from Patreon. I guess before we do that, though, let's just say one more time, tip of the cap to Jameis Winston. Really cool to see the guy win and do well. And the Cleveland Browns in general, as a matter of fact, their defense played outstanding. Their defense outplayed the Steelers' defense. Jameis didn't have better numbers than Russell Wilson, but made plays when it mattered. You look at Cleveland, they're 3-8. They've really got no reason to want to win this football game, other than everyone in Cleveland, coaching and playing, is fighting for their lives, fighting for their job, right? They're trying to show, hey, we can play, we can coach, and they're doing the best they can. And I thought that was a valiant effort from Cleveland in a snowstorm on Thursday Night Football in Cleveland. And God, it was good football. I think no matter, like, as a Steelers fan, yes, I was sad. As a football fan, loved that game. It was awesome. And you got to just acknowledge that's football at its finest. Football where you don't know who's going to win. It's snowy. Guys are making plays. They're sliding everywhere. That's a great game. And I was really, really satisfied with Thursday Night Football last night. All right. I know it's weird to be... I try to be really fair. Even if my team loses, like, I can still have a good time. I'm not one of those insufferable guys that's like, my team lost, I'm going to be mean to my wife and miserable forever. Like, ugh. It's like, no, I mean, that sucks. But it was still a really fun game. I had a good time. I want to talk about the Jets. And the way we're going to do it, we're going to lead into it with a question from Patreon. I got to find the specific question. Here we go, from Ben Barnes. Now, by the way, if you want to support the show on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Zach Schaumler, patreon.com/Zach Schaumler. It's $1 a month. You can donate more if you want to, please do. But $1 a month gives you access to submit questions on Patreon. Now, I do not guarantee to read your question on the show. However, like, you're pretty likely. You write in the show, you're like 9 out of 10 times your question is going to get read on the show. I'm going to try to read all of them today. I put a post on Patreon 2 days ago in preparation for this moment. Let's start with Ben Barnes, though. I do not think, it'd be crazy if it was, do not think it's the same Ben Barnes, though, from like Prince Caspian, Chronicles of Narnia. Like, I would love that. Different guy, though, I'm pretty sure. Ben Barnes says, what's up, Zach? And Nathan. Nathan's not here. Sorry, love you. I'm sure you guys are going to talk about this on the show. Anyways, what do you make of the mess coming out of New York right now with the Jets? Woody Johnson is clearly on a power trip and forcing decisions that are detrimental to the organization. It seems to be he is simply uneducated about the current NFL landscape and makes decisions that he thinks will create headlines and make more money in ticket sales, a la Devontae Adams. Do you think players in free agency will start to avoid organizations with incompetent, overreaching owners like this, a la Jets, Cowboys? Would love to hear your thoughts. Players aren't going to avoid a big paycheck. That's the truth. And so Jerry Jones offers you a ton of money in Dallas, you're going to go. I think it's just what's going to happen, especially in Dallas where the tax situation is pretty favorable and cost of living is pretty low. Do I think they're a top target in free agency, the Jets or the Cowboys? No. I mean, you'd rather go somewhere else. But if that's where the bag is, I think you take the most money to go wherever you want. Now, let's talk about it, though, because the Jets this week fired their general manager, Joe Douglas. And I think it's a reactionary move. It's a move that I think you can justify. Now, here, I know that's kind of weird. I know I don't agree with it, by the way. Let's be very clear. I think firing Joe Douglas is a step in the wrong direction. I do not approve of that move. However, you can rationalize it by saying, well, this guy drafted Zach Wilson, failed. This guy allowed Aaron Rodgers into the building. That didn't work. We hired coaches. We supported Aaron Rodgers. Now we're 3-8. It's gone terribly. So you can, if you want someone ahead to roll for the situation the Jets have created with Aaron Rodgers, look, you fired Robert Saleh. It still you didn't win games as a result of that. So now you want to fire someone else? Sure. Like, you can blame Joe Douglas if you want. And I guess, and I don't want to make, how do I say this, excuses. I feel like I get a lot of hate for the way I made excuses, quote unquote, people will say, for Robert Saleh, the former Jets head coach. I think he was put in a tough situation, did the best he could. I think Joe Douglas did the same. Although you could argue, hey, he's the guy who picks the players. Maybe he put himself in that situation. We don't know the dynamic between Woody Johnson, the owner, and Joe Douglas, the former general manager. It seems like, I would imagine, they were all encouraged in New York to bring in Aaron Rodgers to make that move happen, right? And then you roll with it, and you do the best you can with honest, straightforward intentions to do the best you can with that situation to make it good, and it didn't work. So I think if you want to blame someone for Aaron Rodgers and it's not the owner and the owner's mad, sure, I guess you blame Joe Douglas. Like, I understand how you end up with that logic. I think it's terrible logic. I don't agree. Here's what the Jets just did by firing Joe Douglas. They let a good general manager leave their building. Between, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, like player after player after, like there are countless names of players he has drafted in New York with the Jets that I think are really good players. That, man, I mean, he hit on a wide receiver. Like, that alone right there. How much did the Patriots try to find a great wide receiver in the draft and just year after year failed? The Jets did it in one go. I don't know, man. I really, from a draft perspective especially, Joe Douglas was outstanding and did a really, really good job. And I think someone else is going to have him someday and be really grateful to have Joe Douglas. It's kind of like when your crappy girlfriend breaks up with you and you're like, well, I'll go be someone else's dream guy. It really is kind of that's how it feels with Joe Douglas and the Jets. The owner's mad, kind of throwing a fit, Woody Johnson. Good luck replacing Joe Douglas, like finding a general manager who's going to do as much good as Joe Douglas did. Was he perfect? No. Whether you want to criticize coaching hires or you want to criticize the Zach Wilson draft pick, which I still think Zach Wilson's got a shot to work. I think the Jets organization held him down rather than Zach Wilson was a bad player. But then you ask a question, well, then Joe Douglas was part of that Jets organization that held Zach Wilson down, so do we fire? Like, I get it's kind of circular logic. The Jets have been bad. It hasn't worked. Someone's got to take a fall besides just the coach, and Joe Douglas got caught in that wash as well. But I just don't think the Jets are going to find another general manager who can draft as well as Joe Douglas did anytime soon. And so, like, was he perfect? No. Was he pretty dang good? Yeah, he was a pretty dang good general manager. And he did everything he could. And I assume a lot of what Joe Douglas did in recent years with the Jets, a la bringing in Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard, certain coaching hires, Nathaniel Hackett. I think a lot of that was under instruction from an owner who then made sure when it didn't work, someone took the blame other than the owner who made that decision, right? It feels wrong. It feels icky. It feels unfair. I don't like it at all. And so good luck to the Jets. I enjoy watching them suffer and fail. Aaron Rodgers has been, not great at all. Not good. Not terrible. 70 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. They're 3-8. It's funny to me, though, that they bring in Aaron Rodgers and they're still awful. And I had hope. I really thought it might go well. It didn't. And so, again, I want to repeat this. They're going to have a hard time finding a good general manager who is as successful in the draft as Joe Douglas was. Good luck. And I really can't wait to see where Joe Douglas lands. I don't know how long it takes to become a general manager again somewhere else. I don't know. It's not quite like coaching where you get hired immediately. You got to kind of build within an organization, and it's a long process to become a general manager. It's rare to see a GM hop from team to team. But I'd be really curious. If another team ever gives him a shot as general manager, I think he could do a really good job again, by the way. And so I'm very interested in that, and would love to see that happen. Kenny Doe writes in and says, "Hello, Zach. In the past, you mentioned you have read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Blank. My question is, a fudge. I don't know why. Fuck, I can cuss. I don't know why I was weird about that just now. I'm sorry. Anyway, in the past, you've mentioned you have read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. My question today is, if you're an avid reader, I have a novella that I would love to send you. You can read. As always, keep being you. All I'm reading recently is like really long technical documents. I do a lot of reading. I read a lot of install manuals. I read a lot of, my job in HVAC is very technical. And so I read a lot of that and take very detailed notes. So I read basically textbooks all the time. And is that fun? No, it's not. Well, I like it, actually. Here's what I like about it. I'm a note taker. I love taking notes. I love learning new things. So I guess I enjoy it from that perspective. Is it like an entertaining story? Not at all. There's no storytelling at all. It's like, here's, connect the yellow wire to Y1. It's like, great. I don't know. So I enjoy it. But it's, I don't know. Am I a big reader? No, simply because of time constraints. I'm either watching football, hanging out with Molly, or working, and mostly I'm working. Like I work a lot these days. And it's a good thing. Like I found a job that, similar to what SOS used to be for me, the more I put into it, the more I get out of it. And I love diving all into it and making it. I like working. I'm a guy who enjoys going to work and working hard and getting stuff done. And I'm finding a home in that in my job currently. So yeah, I don't read a lot. I read when I'm on vacation, but I don't take vacations very often. So on a plane, maybe. Although last time I was on a plane, I played Zelda. I played Breath of the Wild for. It's funny, like I haven't it came out I think in 2017 now. I still haven't finished Breath of the Wild, and I'm chipping away at it. I play occasionally. Almost every time I get on a plane, I play that game, but almost only when I get on a plane recently. So like, obviously that's big groups of time spaced out, and that game's kind of endless. You can play forever. So I don't know if I'll ever finish Breath of the Wild, but I love it, and even years later, I've never finished it. I'm on my first ever playthrough, having a great time. I just hop into it every once in a while. It's easy to pick up and set down, and I love it, man. When I'm in my free time, by the way, video games is kind of the thing. When I have time, that's what I want to do with my time. I don't want to read a novella. I'm sorry. Justin writes in and says, "What's up, Zach? I will give you a time machine, but you can only use it 2 times. The first time, you can go back in time to replay one football game from your past, but the only thing you'll remember is that you used a time machine to come back and replay this specific game. You will know nothing about what happened in the game the first time you played it. The second time, you can only go back in time to replay one football game from your past, but this time, you remember everything about the game and that you came back in time to give it another try. The outcome, any mistakes you made, and all the plays that are in your head. What 2 games are you going to play and why?" Oh, it's so easy. But I will say, first of all, Justin, I'm really nervous about messing with time travel because I like my life. I'm really happy. It worked out for me. Like I don't want to go back and make changes. I want the stipulation that if I go back and do other things, my life still ends up where I'm at, because I really am happy with my lot in life. I don't want to make any changes. And the problem here is if I go back and make these changes, maybe my life is different. That scares me, and I like my life. I love where I'm at. So under the caveat that this doesn't change my current life, because I'm very happy. These are the 2 games I would change. Camas High School, my senior year. We're at Camas. We made it. They were like the best team in the state. We're at their field. A lot of college coaches are watching. I am sick as a dog. I'm really sick in this football game. And I'm getting hit all night. The refs are not calling. I feel like I'm getting hit late every play. we're down. We made it it was like a 6 point. No, it was 14-17 at halftime. Like we are right in the thick of this game. And in the second half, I kept getting hit, and I just kept getting up slower, and I feel like I was kind of a whiner in front of a lot of college coaches. I really think about that. And I just wish I'd been a little bit tougher. I think if I was after years now of working in HVAC, crawling through crawl spaces, going through all the stuff I've gone through, like, the challenges of that game are nothing. I'm like, what, are you going to hit me? I don't care. Like, I think I would have been a lot tougher and handled that situation better. And I think we could have won that game if I'd been a little more of a hero in that game. And I'd like to go back and redo that. I think about that a lot, actually. Like, I should have got up faster. I shouldn't have complained to the refs. I should have just kept playing and balling. And I was really sick, and I kind of felt sorry for myself, I think. And that sucks, and I hate that. It's embarrassing to explain that out loud. So I wish I could go back and play the Camas game for my senior year one more time. And then the only other game I would go back and do differently is Wenatchee High School, my final high school football game. And college, I don't. For some reason, like, I think about high school as the moment where it led to me getting to college. And I think if I'd played better in high school, I could have gone to a better college, and college would have taken care of itself, if that makes sense. So I would have gone back to Wenatchee High School my senior year. I'm coming off of a record-breaking game the week before against Skyline High School. We're in Wenatchee. I'm throwing like a brick football. It's so cold. I'm wearing 3 long-sleeve shirts. And by the way, this is not a moment where I was like a player. I was not a whiner. I played really, really great. We dropped a lot of touchdowns. We had a really hard time catching a snowy, cold football in this game. I was making great throws, throwing dimes, and my guys really struggled to catch. And I would just go back in time and try to figure that situation out, because we were so close to beating them, and we just missed a couple plays. And I think with a do-over and a little couple tweaks, we win that football game. And then we can go back to the west side of the state where it's rainy, but snow is hard to win in when you're a finesse offense that throws the football a ton, kind of almost an air raid system. And I think about that Wenatchee game, like, we had so many dropped plays, that like missed opportunities that I think really could have been game changers. And I think with a do-over and maybe a little more research and preparation for how to deal with the cold, we could have won that football game. And I also really will always believe they had like metal baseball cleats on, like, for real. I think the running back at least had cleats that would have been totally illegal, because the way they were running on that grass, icy field doesn't really make any sense. I don't know how that happened. I don't know what allowed them to have the grip they had in those conditions, unless they were wearing baseball cleats, like literally, like metal high school baseball cleats. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because they were just so much faster, and they didn't slip once. And I've always wondered, like, did the cleat situation had to make a huge deal for them, because we were a better team on paper, and they had home field advantage, and they got us. All right. Reefer writes in, says, "Hi, Zach. One of my favorite things about the season so far has been watching the rookie quarterbacks play. This class is looking like it has potential to be a generational group of quarterbacks. Which rookie quarterback has impressed you the most, and which would you hope to see from each of them throughout the rest of the year? Thank you all. Thank you always. And can you say hi to Nathan on my behalf?" Yes, I can, Reefer. Bo Nix has really impressed me a lot. He's a great fit for Sean Payton. He's really accurate, makes great throws. I like his style. He's been impressive. Jaden Daniels is the obvious number one most impressive rookie quarterback. He's been outstanding. He looks like a superstar, like automatically. Like, great throws and great leader. They love him in Washington. Drake May looks like a home run. We got a guy. Tim writes in. I'll read Tim's write in, and then we'll go back to that. Tim says, "Zach, please allow me to rave about Drake May. Sorry for the essay. It's okay. I'll let you do it. You've already seen his explosive playmaking, but unfortunately the Patriots don't have a receiver who consistently beat corners deep. Drake May's biggest knock coming out of the draft was raw fundamentals, leading to inaccuracy in short and intermediate throws. However, on Sunday against the Rams, he went 30 for 40 for 282 yards, throwing primarily in structure from the pocket. This is what excites me the most. I know he can extend a play and launch the ball 50 yards off one foot, but I watched him take what the defense gave him and succeed playing conventional quarterback. After a few sprays early on, advanced stats have him as one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. By virtually every metric, New England has the worst offensive line in football, and the receiver is bottom 5 at best. The receiver is bottom 5 at best, but Drake May shows an ability to recognize pressure and process coverage, to find his hot route, shift in the pocket, and get the ball out quickly. I can't help but compare that to Caleb Williams, who holds the ball too long and bails in the pocket at the first sign of pressure and takes a ton of sacks. On top of this, Drake May is a great kid to root for. Even at 22 years old, he takes the offensive line out to dinner every week and always says the right things to the media, putting mistakes on him and not on teammates. After a sloppy practice, he asked coaches to address the team, and they responded with a dominant win in Chicago. This guy is asked to do it all himself, but shows improvement with every snap he takes and is a great leader. I could not be happier to have him as my franchise quarterback. Let's get this kid some help. I love it, dude. It's absolutely awesome to see Drake May do what he does. He's been kind of the shock of the league. As equally shocking maybe as Caleb Williams has been bad, Drake May has been surprising to see. Because I thought they just had too little around Drake May to do well. I try to believe in Drake May, but it's like, look, I think that the offensive line, the receiver room, they're not putting this kid in a position to do well. And yet Drake May is still, in spite of that, just like, I don't care. I'm still going to succeed and do my best. And that's really cool to see. So Drake May has been probably the most exciting highlight of the rookie quarterbacks, honestly. And then Caleb Williams is been bad. He's been inaccurate. Had bad fundamentals. He's been holding onto the ball too long. He's been just almost every metric you can kind of come up with for a rookie quarterback. You know, Caleb Williams has been bad in Chicago. And it's hard to blame him when he's a rookie in a bad situation with, I think, bad coaching. But right now, Caleb Williams is the one rookie quarterback you look at and you go, yikes, that's the number one pick, because there's 3 guys drafted after him that are very, very much outperforming him. And like by a mile. Man, it's not good. It means they've got a coaching problem, in my opinion. Justin says, howdy. Different Justin, by the way. Howdy. Last episode, you spoke of head coaching vacancies and potential hot seats. That being said, do you think we will see a return of Bill Belichick next year? I don't think he's a guy you bring in if you've got a young quarterback like Caleb Williams, but if you have an established quarterback, I would give him a look. I think a team like the Bengals could be great having him paired with Burrow and Bill, being able to turn the defense around, but who knows if that job will be open. The Jaguars can be another spot as well. Wanted to get your thoughts on Belichick's return. Happy Thanksgiving. I think he's done. I don't know that I would hire Bill Belichick. I think he's a dinosaur who's got an old school style in an NFL that's very different now, that's got, wants to be player friendly. And I don't know that Bill's going to get the power he wants. I don't think Bill Belichick's a great fit in today's NFL. I know that's horrible. And we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he does great. I don't want to ever count out Bill Belichick, but the way things went down in New England, the way they failed there, I don't want to risk Trevor Lawrence's career with Bill Belichick. And that sucks, but that's honest. And I don't know that his style works anymore. I think the NFL's changed and different and more player friendly and more like Mike McDaniel than Bill Belichick. And maybe Bill comes back as a defensive coordinator. It takes a lot of humility. I think it's more likely he just works in media, rides off into the sunset, and enjoys being retired and very wealthy and, kind of a football god. And retirement's probably going to be better suited to Bill Belichick than trying to coach somewhere else, to be honest, in my opinion. Chuddy Man says, how's it hanging, Balzac? I love that. In light of Taysom Hill's monster game, Daniel Jones benching, and the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh, do you think there's a place in the NFL for quarterback by committee? Why aren't there more players like Taysom Hill? Well, there's not more players like Taysom Hill because it's basically impossible to be like a gadget quarterback who comes in and doesn't start the game for you, but has like 3 rushing touchdowns and goes 1 for 2 passing and does a bunch of stuff. That's just not going to happen very often. The Steelers have tried it a little bit with Justin Fields. It's not working. It's not a great... Is it snowing outside? I don't think so. Oh my gosh. I can see the background behind me. I don't think dude, I saw snow yesterday on the mountain. I was working in the West Hills behind Portland, and it snowed on me, and I don't think it stuck. I just hope I have to drive somewhere in a little bit, and I don't want to deal with snow. And that'd be great if it doesn't snow today. That'd be awesome. Anyway, I looked outside earlier, didn't notice it, and I don't think that's snow behind me, but like I can't tell, and that's terrifying. Anyway, no, I think the Taysom Hill role is just impossible. Even Taysom Hill, by the way, doesn't do that every week. Like, so I don't. Yeah, is there possible for quarterback by committee? Maybe, but I mean, I'd love to see a team that brings in like Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Geno, like what all these backup quarterbacks who've had moments here and there, Taylor Heineke and all. Like, it'd be fun to see a team have like 4 backup quarterbacks and just rotate them. That's never going to happen, but I'm open to that. It'd be kind of fun. But no one's ever won football games that way, so no one's going to do that. It's too risky and weird. Captain NDA says, "What's up, Zachy Poo? So my friend and I were debating who gets MVP this year. Mahomes is having a down year. Voter fatigue might get Lamar, who has the best stat win record combination. Joe Burrow has the numbers, but not the wins. Josh Allen has that up and down games, but then he brought up Derrick Henry and said if Christian McCaffrey didn't last year, how would you get Derrick Henry this year? If you compare Derrick Henry's production stats compared to Christian McCaffrey's stats from last year, their total yards and touchdowns are projected to be the same. However, McCaffrey had a lot more receiving yards. My question is, who do you have as the MVP winner right now, and whose season do you find more impressive? Christian McCaffrey last year or Derrick Henry this year? McCaffrey last year is more impressive in my opinion because he just did more stuff. Derrick Henry is a freight train you can't tackle. MVP though, I don't want to answer that. I really don't know. I have no idea. At this point, I have no idea. I really think it's kind of it's a crapshoot. There's no real obvious answer other than Lamar. It's really going to be Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry, and it's not Mahomes. I think it's not Saquon. Like there's time. I think there's still. I guess the best way to say this is that it's NFL week 12 now. The final couple weeks are going to really matter. It's probably Lamar right now, and then if not, it's Derrick Henry, and then if not, it's Saquon Barkley, and those in that order. And if people are tired of Lamar, you give it to Derrick Henry. But I think Lamar is playing still really well, and I think it's Lamar Jackson unless people are tired of him. But I don't know why you'd get tired of him. Lamar is just incredible, and we watch him make so many incredible plays every year. And I'd be totally happy to see Lamar Jackson win yet another NFL MVP. Evan Schraub writes in and says, Zach, not a Cowboys fan, but enjoy watching the spectacle and the pain of the Cowboys fans as they are the NFL franchise most local to me. If Jerry Jones said you were hired as a GM of the Dallas Cowboys with a total control of the organization, with the stipulations he wanted a new quarterback and a new head coach, what calls are you making? Who do you feel are potential suitors for a trade of quarterback Dak Prescott? Who would be your first call to be interviewed for head coaching position? What quarterbacks are you looking for in the draft or via an offseason trade? Hope you have fun with this, Evan. Man. Who do I think the Cowboys should bring in? See, I'm given control, it sounds like, in this scenario. And how do I say this? I still don't know if Jerry Jones is going to meddle in the future or not, is how it feels. But assuming he doesn't meddle, I would trade for Kyle Shanahan. I would trade whatever it takes. First round pick, give me Kyle Shanahan. Second round pick, two firsts. I don't know if that's possible. That's who I would call as a 49er. Say, you're struggling. Can we have your coach? Or I would bring in Mike McDaniel from Miami. I've heard Deion Sanders' name connected to the Dallas Cowboys. I like that take. It's bold. It's interesting. Like Deion and Shadur in Dallas. Hey, it's different. And we haven't seen a lot of different for a long time in Dallas. I would like to see a sweeping change. I'm open to that idea, but I'm probably trying to give a call to the 49ers and convince them to give me Kyle Shanahan. I think Dak's got to go too. I hate to say that, but I think you do have to. He's got a massive contract. Sure. The Jets might take him. I could probably convince the Jets to trade for him. I'll give you Zach for nothing. Sure, we'll take it. And if you can get a pick out of it, even better. Dak for a third-round pick, do it. Jets need a quarterback. How about Dak Prescott? Maybe the Steelers. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but as a Steelers fan, our quarterback play hasn't exactly been great. Is Dak really worse than Russell Wilson? No. He's probably a slight upgrade, so I'll take that. Sure, why not? I like Dak as a person, too. I think he's an interesting fit for a team like Pittsburgh. But the Dallas Cowboys have to change something major this offseason. Ideally, coach and quarterback. I'm not sure they will, but I agree with that thought. I don't know where I would go, but I would take a big swing and hope I can make something happen with someone entirely different. We got a question from Troy. He's got two. I'm only going to pick one. Troy says, another question for you. Based off the benchings of both Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson and how they have looked better from before and after, what do you think of benching young quarterbacks? I personally think that it could be beneficial for quarterbacks to get live reps, but I do see some merit to having a quarterback sit for the first year in the league. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I think you learn a lot when you watch other people do your job. I really do. I did that in my HVAC role. I spent a lot of time. It's very similar, actually, to training as a young quarterback where you're watching other people succeed and do well and taking notes and learning and trying to emulate what they do so you can copy them and succeed. I always thought I did really, really well when I was watching other people and learning and watching their behavior and trying to copy and mimic them. Also, like sometimes when you take a step back and you take a break and you get a different perspective, it helps you a lot. So I think benching young quarterbacks is definitely different. It's rough, but sometimes it's how you do it, though. Do you punish them, say you suck, we're benching you, or like, hey, we're going to give this guy a shot. We still love you, still believe in you. We want you to take this opportunity to learn and grow, and you're going to get another shot in the future. When that happens, just make sure you're ready. I think that's how you communicate that. You don't, berate the guy, call them names, whatever. You just you encourage them as you bench them, which I know is kind of unique, but a really wise, good move. And that's how I would approach that, absolutely. And I think it makes sense. I think if you bench a quarterback that's young, you still want to encourage them. You don't want to punish them. But also, if they're struggling and floundering and just need a break, like, you do it. That's what you do that for every position, quarterback or not. When any player in football is struggling and a bit overwhelmed, and you got a guy behind him who can play, you take the young kid out, let the other guy play for a little bit, and with the hope that you can go back to the young quarterback eventually, young player eventually. It shouldn't be different for quarterback. And quarterbacks you gotta handle very gently. It's like a kid. You can't yell at a kid. You can't yell at a young quarterback. You gotta be really. I think you just gotta communicate positively and kindly. And I don't know if I'll be a dad someday. I think about it a lot. We talk about it a lot. I think that being direct, but also gentle, is a key. I didn't get that as a kid, and I would have really liked a lot more straightforward, direct, honest communication that didn't scold me or talk down to me. And I just think, especially with adults playing quarterback, you can't and should not talk down the quarterbacks. It's not how I would approach it. For example, I love the way Mike McDaniel talks to young quarterbacks. I think it's perfect. And I would try to emulate that. Absolutely. Guys, that's all I have today. I love you. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing very well. I really, really thank you for listening. I got to run to a meeting, so this will come out later today on Friday. Hopefully, there's no breaking news. There's no coaches fired or anything crazy. As I look at this weekend, I am really excited. Monday Night Football. I don't know what we're going to do yet. Probably going to do it by myself, but Ravens Chargers. It's the Harbaugh Bowl. It's in LA. That'll be fun. A lot to be exciting. And in college football this weekend, there's one game I remember being really excited by. It is, in fact, let's find it. I'm trying to remember what it was. It wasn't a great weekend. Alabama, Oklahoma is interesting. Maybe that was it. Army, Notre Dame, probably a blowout, to be honest. BYU, Arizona State. There was one game that really stood out. I don't remember what it was now. It must have been, oh, no. Okay. 9 a.m. Saturday. Gosh, number 5, Indiana, 10-0 at 9-1, number 2 in the country, Ohio State. That will be a great game. That's the game of the weekend that I cannot wait to watch. And that's all I got, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day. And bam, we are done.